Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for uh, joining this platform. Um, I'm really doing this platform particularly to onboard a number of people who are joining us for the 2024-2025 ICT, or rather what we term as hackathon competition by Huawei. I want to inform you that Huawei Technical Training Institute was invited as part of the fraternity of universities, colleges, that is colleges, yeah, and what we term as Huawei academies, to be part of the 2024-2025 competition or hackathon. So for those people who are joining us, this is a very amazing opportunity. And let me say congratulations to all the students who have decided to be part of this learning process. It will be really a very encouraging, a very motivating, and a very, let me say that, inciting moments where you are not only going to really test your really already existing knowledge, but you're going to really have hands-on skills, and you're really going to learn a lot. So congratulations for those ones who have decided to join this learning exercise. Let me start first of all by mentioning a number of things before I onboard a number of you. Speaking of Huawei, and Huawei is a tech mongol, is a tech company. It's based in China. They have majored in various technology infrastructures, cloud centers. They are also doing amazing stuff in AI, big data, and artificial intelligence. Many people could be aware of Cisco. Cisco is the one which has been long in the market, but then Huawei has really done amazing stuff. I think they are now covering a good market. And they have mentioned particularly in networking products. These are products that we are consuming, and I know majority of you people are consuming Huawei products. Huawei has good footprint now in the market, particularly as a tech mongol. It is in Africa, but I am aware that they have also explored very many other markets. Asia, they're already in Europe, they're in Latin America, and having these certifications will not only make you work in your country, but you are going to be an international expert. They are providing a number of certifications, which I'll mention as we move by. So I think let me onboard you guys because of time. I want to make this video to be very short so that I bring the information that is very relevant, very important, right at the start before the session becomes too long. So let me start. I think the first thing is that you'll get a link. There is a link that we have shared to our WhatsApp platform. It's a platform for the guys who have joined the Huawei. If you have not joined, kindly request for that WhatsApp group and join. So there is a WhatsApp group, kindly so try to request for the link. So we have created a link that can help you join that group. For those ones who have not gotten the link, liaise with the CIT department. They will help you get the link and be able to join. So this is the platform of Huawei. For those ones who will get the opportunity, kindly interact with it. There are a number of things that exist here, but as we move by, I'll let you know. But remember, this is a certification body. It certified various professionals who can be able to work with their products outside there. So there are various certifications. So if you come to this section of certification, you can really see what they are doing in terms of career certifications. There are 3 certifications of Huawei that I will mention. The first of all, we particularly, as a college students now who are joining this for the first time, we are starting an associate certification. You know, we are joining at the lowest level of the pyramid, trying to understand how the products of Huawei are configured, how are these products troubleshooted, what are the existing other things we can learn around Huawei. So it's divided into HCIA, Huawei Certified ICT Associate. That is the first level. We then have the professional one, that is ICT, or rather what you call as HCIP, that is Huawei Certified ICT Professional. Then we have HCIE, the one for the expert. So this is the roadmap. So you start Then the best thing I saw with this competition is that you can start as an associate, but then if you are too good and too fast, you can grow the ladder as you move to the professional section. So that is something we are going to discuss about. So maybe let me mention a number of things. Huawei are measuring in big data. They are measuring in, they are measuring in big data. They are also measuring in IoT. They are also in artificial intelligence and many other technologies which are involving software and hardware. You see, they are teaching computing a track, which is OpenEULA, OpenGaze, and such kind of things. But then let me just stick. I think we will do more other videos to help you more. Let me just go to what has brought us here today. ICT competition. ICT competition. That is what I think today I wanted to talk about. So once you just get that link, in fact, that link will require you to register. So I think the best thing is that let me log out. Let me log out first. Let me log out first. So hold on. I'm trying to log out so that I show you the register. So you will. This is the first page that you land. So it will allow you to register. So I will want every student, once you click, kindly try to register. So click here. So it will request you a number of things. It will request you to enter which country. So enter your country. You know we are from Kenya. For the case of the phone number, enter your phone number 757-039-394. That's my number. Huawei are doing amazing stuff when it comes to security. So they are not only allowing you to use one method of authenticating yourself, but they want you to go through the multi-factor authentication. I think these are things we have done from our security classes. MFA, where you are allowed, you are actually verified using more than one method. So you request for an OTP. We call it one-time password. We have done that from our security classes. Then enter that. So once they send an OTP to your phone, kindly enter it here. Then they will allow you to prove if you are a robot. Kindly, for example, something like this. They only want you to show the correct sequence. So you will say that is number 1. For this one here, you say number 2. This one here, you say number 3, and then you click. You see? So then password, create a strong password. From our security classes, we have done amazing things. A strong password must be the one which has a capital letter, then it has alphanumeric, more than 8 characters. Cybersecurity classes, kindly do that. So I think for me, I have an account. So what I'll do is just go to register, to log in. So kindly allow me log in. So that one. Let me just do that. Then I log in. So let's be patient as we allow that to log in. I think my network has more latency, so it has logged us in. So thank you very much. So this is the competition, right? So once you are here, you will just come and realize that there are sections that this competition is taking place. Huawei has a competition going on in South Africa, Middle East and Central Africa. There's the Asia Pacific. Then we have China. It's taking place in Latin America. It is taking place in North Africa, and it's also taking place in Europe, right? So, but then ours is South Africa. So let's log into South Africa. Southern Africa, I mean. So once you click the Southern African section, you will land in a page, and that page is really categorizing one window, sub window, that is having the registration, whether it succeeded, show you the status there. Then we have the learning space. The learning space is where the Cisco learning management system exists. When we talk of an LMS, where they have developed their curriculum and exams and other things, that is where you learn, the learning space. So this is where I'll take you, but let me take you through the introduction part of it. Huawei ICT competition is a competitive ICT talent exchange event developed by Huawei for global college students to promote the healthy development of ICT talent ecosystem and support the integration of industry and education. So Huawei invites Huawei ICT academies, universities, colleges to participate in Huawei ICT competition 2024 2025. What am I picking out of this? What is very important there is that Huawei is a tech company that is now at least trying to bridge the gap between education and industry. There is that gap that they are trying to fill. They are trying to ensure that the students who are being prepared to the job market have the necessary skills. And that is why I encourage as many students to join. Because it is really trying to tell you in a nutshell, what do you expect to meet in the industry? So not only are you having the theory in class, but we are now practicalizing, learning things from the theory, from what we know, and then turning the unknowns to knowns. So the competition is categorized into three. We have the network track, we have the cloud track, we have the computing track. So for those ones who want to compete, these are the sections that we are supposed to choose. You are only supposed to choose one section. But then I will encourage, I was in a class, one of the classes here, or rather in TTI, and I noticed some students interested in cloud. I was so happy. Things have gone. We say 1,000 days in technology is equated to 1 day in reality. Things are moving so fast. Now, we do not want now to really get to invest a lot of money right from the start. As businesses start, they need to start small. So they need to consume the cloud infrastructures. They need softwares, consume it as a service. They need a platform, consume it as a service. Spend as you go. The little you have, buy the service you can be able to buy. That is why we'll encourage you people, get some interest in cloud computing. Now many cloud engineers are needed. Artificial intelligence, we want to automate. We are training models. We want really to turn things the traditional way. Now they are being taken over by machines, AI. So they are also having that track for cloud computing, big data, and artificial intelligence. Kindly, I will also want to see some students also getting some experience there. Computing track, the technology such as, I think that is the hardware section where they are teaching certain kind of technologies, OpenEULA, OpenGaze, and we call it Kanban. I think for those who are interested with that, and you're interested on the same, kindly visit the CIT department. We can guide you on how to do that. The competition awards. So there are a number of people who are going to be awarded. So there will be some grand prizes. Kindly, once you get into access into your site, consider reading that. Let me show you how the marks are going to be distributed. We are going to have a number of competition happening right from the regionals, but we are going to have preliminary finals. Then we are going to have national finals, regional finals, and then the main finals that will be done in Chongqing in China. So, but then we'll talk about that as we progress. So HCIA, once you start, you'll start with Huawei certified ICT associate certification, which will be 50 marks. If you manage to move to HCIP, you'll be awarded 100 mark. And for the case of the expert certificate, you'll be awarded 200 points. This is only applicable between the registration period to national finals period. Only highest level points will be awarded. So there is a link for you to scan a QR code for TTI. We have that link, and the link is in our groups already, so you can join either using that, or if you want a real QR code, you can visit the ICT department. They'll give you the QR code to scan. Then for the case of the schedule, registration is happening between 11th and November 30th, so we are within that time frame. But then the earlier the better. For those ones who have joined, continue looking at the curriculum, keep learning. I'll show you how that is being done shortly. I'll show you the course content and tell you what you're supposed to do. The preliminary of course exam need to be done within November 2024. So ensure before actually we finish this month, you have already done the first exam, which is just an exam on the theory. There is a theory at the preliminary level. I'm showing you shortly. National finals will be done in November, December 2024. Regional finals will be done in February 2025, and global finals will be done in May 2025. Let me now take you through what we expect. In the stage, venue exam, the duration in terms of minutes, question quantity, question type, and total score. Stage 1 is known as preliminary. The exam is purely online, and it will be a theory exam, no practical, at the preliminary level. The minutes which you are supposed to do the exam is 90 minutes. The question quantity is 60 questions. It will be a multiple choice question, true or false, single answer, and multiple answer questions. It's 1,000 marks. This at the preliminary level, I expect every student to try, because the questions are easy, questions are friendly, and questions are just meant. Really, if you are taking, for example, a networking track, these things have been learned. I've actually been learned in class, particularly even within the CEDA curriculum. We have done those things where they will actually be able to examine you. Do you understand what are networks? Do you understand TCP/IP? Do you understand various terminologies used in networking? And what is the importance of network and such kind of stuff? National finals, it will be online, or it can be done offline. So it will be a theory exam. It is 90 minutes, and question quantity are 90. So I think 1 minute for every question. Multiple choice question, true or false, that is what we expect, 1,000 marks. That is something I know we are going to conquer for the case of the theory. Regional finals will have purely online, theory exam and a lab exam. 60 marks for the case of the theory, 240 marks for the case of practicals. Question types will be 60 for the case of multiple choice questions, 1,000 marks, and we expect the lab is also going to have 1,000. Global finals that will happen in China, totally and purely offline, and it will be a lab exam, and it will actually be done in group work. As group work, I mean. Competition rules. Competitors that have taken part in global finals in previous years cannot participate in the same track again. So I think we are participating in it for the first time. So once we are done that way, I think I need now to take you to what is very, very important. Learning space. Click the learning space. So on your far right there, let's allow it to open kindly, so let's be patient. I think my network is a bit slow, some cheaters there. Now once you click that, you are going to land to a page, and the page you land on is a learning space. This is the learning space for Huawei. So once you land on this learning space, you will see three, we call them 3 windows. So you are going to see Huawei ICT competition, network track learning space. You will also see cloud track learning space for these guys who are going to take the cloud track, path. For those ones who are going to take the computing track, you will use the other side. It's a free mode. So what we do is let us click. Let me use the first one, network track, to guide you on that. But then for the case of the 2 others, if you need more guidance on cloud computing and the other thing, maybe you can visit the ICT department for more illustrations. Now, once you click here, network track learning space, I will want you to enroll. So I will want you to click enroll. What is the use of that functionality of enroll? It is actually to put you on the basket of the people above us to take that course by Huawei. So we have that. Let me see, it's opening. Kindly let's be patient. Let's be patient. Now you land here, right? So you see, since I've joined, I'm new. The percentage is 0%. That means as we progress by, the percentage will be increasing. As you continue reading, as you continue interacting with this content, you realize the percentage will grow. So if you look at, for the case of the learning track, it has been divided into datacom, data communication network, security, wireless networks, and Huawei. That's just where Huawei certifications will be downloaded from, the certification zone. So let me start with the first one. I open this. And that one allows me that as even it opens, let me mention, for the guys, data communication, I think you understand, for those guys who will be doing this networking track, data communication is a really content that I know has been taught from classroom, and you can't really fail to answer a number of questions there. Computer networks are also being taught. Security, this is something we are teaching. Wireless networks, we have done that. So we have decided most of the students to take this track because this is a track that I'm aware most of our students have been exposed to, and I'm really encouraging most of you to do that. So you will land here. I think I want us to go through the course outline. I need the course outline. That is what I'm interested with. Course outline. Exam outline. Let me see whether we can get something I can guide you through. That what we expect, so that there is that blueprint or a roadmap on what we expect as we move by. I think most of these things have been covered. That is what I'm happy with. Maybe we'll only be able to brush on a number of things. So Huawei ICT Competition 2024-2025 exam outline, practice competition network track. I don't know whether you can be able to see my computer and whether it is clear off, unless I will be forced to see whether I can add the percentage of this screen. But then it's clear. Let me believe so. So for the case of weighing, how those questions will be weighed, data communication is going to take, at the preliminary stage, it will take 40 marks. Data communication networks will take 20 marks. Security will take 20 marks. Wireless networks will take 20 marks. The same will be maintained in national stage. And remember, for the case of written and lab, for the case of regionals, written will take 40, lab will take 50. Data communication networks 20, 0% for the case of the lab at the regional levels, and 20% for the written, 25% for the lab, 20% for wireless networks, and 25% for the case of the lab. Global stage will also have what is there. For me, let me go through the scope, what we expect. Kindly, I want everybody to be very keen here, because I'll be mentioning a number of things that will guide you in terms of what you are supposed to do. For the case of data communication, they are expecting you to have some knowledge on data communication basics. So we have on this other far side, which has HCIA, HCIP, HCI. Those are those certification stages that I told you at first. When you see it ticked, it means those questions will be tested when you will be at that level, you know. So for the case of data communication basics, I expect you to be able to understand basics about networking knowledge, basics. What is a network? Types of networks. I want you also to be able to understand, what do you understand by TCP/IP, layers of TCP/IP, you know, and maybe what is the importance of a network, you know, how can really a network impact an organization, such kind of things. And TCP/IP protocols, I also want you to be aware of that. I think you have been taught about TCP/IP. So at TCP/IP, I expect you to understand the general knowledge of the protocol, from a physical layer, data link layer, internet layer, what you call as the presentation layer, and what we term as the application layer. All those layers. Understand what happens in those layers. Understand when we talk of Ethernet cable, where we categorize it. Layer 2 device like a switch, you know, found where. When we talk of routing, you're talking of a router, which are actually routed the traffic to the internet. Layer 3 device, where do we find it? When we talk of presentation layer, what does it do? Encoding, the coding of those information, know that. Application layer, such kind of steps, I want you to do that. Then I want you to be aware also of protocols and configuration of those protocols, the TCP and UDP, ARP, IP, NAT, Telnet, FTP, and DHCP protocols. TCP protocols, for those ones who have done it, transport control protocol, and user datagram protocol. For the case of the UDP, know the difference. You know, there is one that is very critical, really doesn't, one which allows for, it really allows for cheaters that can be able to happen, like a transmission control protocol. Packet can be lost, but then even if they are lost, there is need for the handshaking to allow that there is really that compensation of packets end to end. But the UDP, Once packets are dropped, they are dropped. Understand more on that. Internet protocol, understand how it works. Telnet, understand how it works. File transfer protocol, DHCP, you understand. When we are trying to do the networking stuff, sometimes we don't want static configuration of machines in terms of giving them the IP addresses. We may want a server to assign them those IPs. So we configure a DHCP server to once a computer is connected to the network, it is automatically given an IP address. So kindly check on that. Ethernet switching basics. I also want you to learn more about Ethernet. When we talk of Ethernet, local area network, you're talking about just a small configured network. Understand the technologies that happen around the Ethernet switching process. Understand the MAC address. When I talk of a MAC address of a computer, you should be able to know that. Understand VLAN, virtual LANs. Understand, master the principles and configurations of VLAN, what we call as max VLAN and the VLAN aggregations. So learn more about that. Link aggregation, that one I think is someone that has been taught. Kindly try also to look at such kind of stuff. Stack and CSS, try also to look at the principles and configurations of technologies that are around stack and CSS. STP, we normally call it spanning tree protocol. Kindly look at that. Also, we are talking of mastering the RSTP. What that is, we call it a spanning tree protocol, and what we call as the MSTP. Ensure you look at that. Static routing. Understand what we mean by static routing. So ensure you have a good command on basic IP routing knowledge, as well as IP version 4 and IP version 6. When we talk of IP version 4, I should be able to see students knowing IP version 4 class A, class B, class C. Understand what we mean by a subnet mask. Understand what we mean by private IP addresses, which are just not allowed to be, or rather to be used anyhowly, but they are only designed for specific configurations. Understand about IP version 6 and reasons why we have IP version 6. You know, IP version 4. One of the disadvantages is that it's actually a kind of an IP address we think that can be depleted. You know, there are so many devices, you know, that are actually being brought and which are trying to interact and really get to communicate with each other of the internet. So there is the fear of depletion of the IP of version 4 addresses. So IP version 6 was brought in to solve that. So get to understand IP version 6. OSPF, I also want you to be aware of that protocol. Have a good command of the basic principles and configuration of OpenSPF. And not only OpenSPF, I also want you to be aware of OpenSPF version 3. Also look at that protocol. For another routing technology that I want you to be aware of, the one used by internet service provider, IP version 4, IP version 6, ISIS, internet service provider to internet service provider. For example, when we want to have Safaricom communicating with Airtel, those are service provider to service provider. Learn more on how they utilize the IP version 4 and their IP version 6 protocol. I also want you to be aware of the routing technologies of PGP, Big Gateway Protocol. I also want you to look at both PGP and BGP version 4. So master the basic principles and configuration of BGP, version 4, version 6, and I want you to check on how that one is linked with VPN. So various virtual VPN scenarios, and how those VPN scenarios are actually being used in ensuring those routing protocols of big gateway protocols and now they are. I also want you to be aware of ACL, access control. You know, it is important that even as we actually try to use various networks, whether we're talking of local networks or we are talking about our wireless networks, there is need for us to control who accesses our network, right? So there is need for us to create what we call as control layers. So access control protocols. Like for example, you are trying to configure a switch. You want only specific computers with specific IP addresses to be the only ones which can be connected to that switch. So you can limit a port of a switch to only accept IP addresses of a certain range. If you are new and you don't have that IP address, even if you connect to the port can't work. Kindly get to know more on that technology, SCL. IP prefix list, Look at that. Another routing technologies I want you to look at is routing policies and policy-based routing. You know, sometimes also organizations develop policies, and those policies are normally implemented using technology. A policy might be a policy that we write in form of a rule, but there is need for that rule to be rather configured, whether we are using firewalls or we are using routers or we are using any form of a technology device. We can actually be able to take the policy in form of a rule and convert it to a technology constraint. So get to understand how policies can actually be really turned into rules, and those rules can be configured and translated into various routing technologies. Look at that. IP version 6 technologies, those are also things that I want you also guys to learn. IP version 6 basics. If you have not interacted with IP version 6, kindly try to know more. Understand the IP version 6 protocol and address and the related concepts that IP version 6 solves. I want you to know how to configure IP version 6, either configuring it in form of a DHCP, either trying to use the DHCP configuration of IP version 6, or you can try to see whether you can be able to configure it statically. But then IP version 6 address configuration, I want you to know that. Understand ICMP version 6, that is for the case of IP version 6 stateless auto configuration, as well as understanding the DHCP version 6 configurations. Another thing I will want you to move into is the enhanced one for IP version 6. Understand the concept and significance of IP version 6 enhanced. There are a number of things I will want you. So for the case of wireless technologies, WLAN technologies, I want you to look at the basics. Understand the basic concept of wireless networks, principles and configurations of PPP. We call it point-to-point protocol, and point-to-point over Ethernet. That is why we call it PPP, point-to-point protocol, and PPP over Ethernet. We call it point-to-point protocol over Ethernet. Get to check on that. Another thing I will want maybe to talk about is VPN technologies. I also want you to be aware of them. Master the basic principles and configuration of we call it big gateway protocol, and what we term as the big gateway protocol in relation to virtual private networks, VPN. So those are a lot of things. Multicast technologies, I want you also to be aware of that. You master the basics of IGMP principles and IGMP configurations. Ensure you are aware of that. And I also want you to learn on network security, network security technologies like AAA. AA is a protocol that we call, I think it is authentication, authorization, and you're supposed to be authenticated, you're supposed to be authorized, and the availability. So understand the AAA principles and configurations. Understand that. And what we call as Ethernet switching security. How can we be able to maintain Ethernet? MAC address security. We can use port security. We can use MAC address flapping prevention and also detection. We can also do what we call as switching traffic controls, and also trying to ensure we do or how do we prevent snooping, what we call as DHCP snooping and IP secure guard. Those are security technologies that I want you also to consider as you prepare. But as we find time, I think these are things we can virtualize in our networks, but with time, we'll be able to master such kind of stuffs. There are a number of things I will want you to consider. This spans through a number of technologies, but I think the guys have, the Cisco, or rather the Huawei guys have provided a number of curriculum, or rather we call them a number of guides. You will be able to implement them. But one thing I'll be able to talk to you guys is that as you learn these things, learn a technology, learn a protocol, and try to convert that protocol to practicality. Another thing that I want to help you maybe after this is how to configure what we term as ENSP. That one is what we call as Enterprise Network Simulation Protocol for Huawei. That is the lab. That is actually a lab environment, virtualized lab environment. That instead of us physically configuring computers, switches, routers, and buying them and that costly kind of adventure, Cisco have decided to virtualize, and all these things can be done in a virtual environment. I'll guide you how to install and use their virtual environment But this is just the course outline that will guide you on what you will be able to expect. I'll wish you guys, number one, anything you learn, practicalize. Practical. Practice is the only thing that will be able to save you. Then I think I'm done. This is now the course outline. Kindly go through it. It will guide you on what you're supposed to do. Let me now click written exam guide. Written exam guide. So ensure also you click here and get to see what is found in that section. So, but then you guys, I know you'll be able to consume a number of these products. So, but I've given you a layout, I've given you a roadmap on what we expect you to be able to do. So maybe let me just mention one thing. It is the installation of a virtual environment, a lab environment, where you'll be doing your practicals. So allow me reduce this screen. And bring another screen up. I want to just open somewhere here. I don't know where my softwares are located, but I will share a folder. That folder is going to contain two softwares. One of the software is called NSP installer. Another one is called Virtual Box installer. So you're going to be required to install a Virtual Box. Virtual Box is an Oracle product. It's actually used for virtualization, creating virtualization. And you understand what we mean by virtualization. When we are virtualizing is when we actually want to really simulate or run various platforms in one platform. You know, you have one computer, but you want to run various operating systems. You want to run Linux, you want to run Ubuntu, you want to run Red Hat, you want to run Windows 11, Windows 10. You may not be able to physically configure all these things on machines. So what you do, you virtualize the environment. And after you've done the virtualization, you bring in now those software. In short, it is abstracting the hardware to allow the hardware to be able to be used in a number of ways. Now, you will be able to receive a zipped version. So you unzip, and once you have unzipped, I think my unzipped version is here. Let me see if I have any version that is unzipped. But then, yeah, it is here. So you come here, maybe for the case of enterprise network simulation protocol, just open the setup. I have already given you the setup. Configure that. Then after that, ensure first of all you start with the virtual box. Once you've completed installing the virtual box, install the ENSP software on top of it. One of the things I never wanted you guys to strain is that I have made this software in such a manner that it is integrated with the Wireshark, and you do not need to really configure the Wireshark externally. So once you have configured the virtual box, the ENSP software will check whether you have the necessary dependencies. But once the dependencies are not there, it will give you a prompt to install the dependencies first. But to avoid that, start with the virtual box. Then once you're done with the virtual box, come in and install the enterprise network simulation protocol. Now, allow me to open my, not really, that is not what I want. I want to open this software. We call it ENSP, Enterprise Network Software, or rather Simulation Protocol, the Huawei lab environment. So once you have configured your lab environment, this is what you will get. You'll get an environment like this. So you people, this is how the network environment looks like. All these ones are icons. Let me introduce you to what all these stuff means. What we have here is when you want to open a new project, you will open it from here. You want to save, you will save your documents from here. Save as, you know the difference between the two. Print, you want to print something, you'll print from here. You want to, an arrow is meant to select something. Text, you will be used to label your topologies. This one here will always be when you want to run, maybe you want to run a certain kind of, you want to run some sort of scripts. But then this one here stands for routers. So if you want to pick a router, you will come here, you pick, like for example AR2220, you just put it on your lab environment. You want a switch. We have switch S5700, switch S3700, we have CE6800 and all that. So you can select it that way. You want, for example, an Ethernet cable, you will come here, select your Ethernet cable, connect it here, then after that come here, finish it that way. You want to make these devices to be active, just select them that way, you know, then right click, start them, you know. Then once you're done, they'll be very, they will boot. I think you understand, they operate the same way any device works out. So that is a boot process. So let's allow them to boot. Let's allow them to boot. Kindly, I'm a bit slow because this is a real-time class. So you click that way, they have changed their color. Maybe now you can, if for example you want to stop them, you can stop them from there. But if you open here, you realize it's working. You know, that is this command line interface to show you how the process is running, this device is running. I think I need another video where I will teach you about simulation of various Huawei, practical experiments, and on how we can be able to configure them, how we do static routing, how can we be able to configure this with an IP address, and then after that, how do we ping? Maybe for example, we have a computer, maybe a PC that is seated in a department, like for example, a department like registry, or rather a department like food and nutrition, and maybe we have connected it with it's connected on our backbone. Maybe let me say it's connected to the switch, so we connect this to this place. Once we are done, how do we configure? You know, how do we come here? Then after that, try to do what we call configurations. How do we configure DHCP? How do we configure static routing? You know, how do we do a number of things? How do we analyze packets? How do we ping? This is now scenarios where we'll actually be able to rather ping and see maybe a certain device, if that device exists, you know, and a number of things. So for now, maybe I will finish here. Guys on board, and let's have a nice learning experience from there. Thank you very much. I wish you well, and bye.